It's close to midnight. There's something evil lurking in the dark. And we're going to discuss that next on The Unspoken. Fellas, we back with The Unspoken. October has rolled around. Pumpkin spice, apple cinnamon, Halloween. It's obvious that we got to talk about the top 5 horror films of all time. Dre, kick us off. Where you going?
All right. Well, first I want to say that you look better with the mask on. So it's unfortunate you took it off.
Let's get going with your bonus. We'll start with your bonus.
So I know Moan said we should only have like one bonus, but one honorable mention. But no, just so you know, hashtag Mo's not my boss. I'm the boss. So you get that down. So I'll give you my honorable mentions. Plural.
Sir.
I'm going to cheat. I'm going to cheat. I know I'm going to cheat. I'll keep it short. So I won't go into it too much, but honorable mention, I'm going to Psycho Gorman, right? For my boy Owen Meyer, who I've done a couple of films with, so I had to give a shout out to him. Shameless plug. I also have Alien, Nightmare on Elm Street, and Get Out on my honorable mention.
So here's what we can do. We can't let Adrian mow down the whole
list. The whole list, exactly.
Hey man, we gotta knock it off.
Yo, go sit down somewhere. Jamal,
one honorable mention, please.
Jamal, what's your honorable mention? Let's go to Jamal now.
Okay, my honorable mention is Scream.
Okay, my honorable mention is 28 Days Later.
Good movie.
Ooh.
Yes.
Good movie.
Yes.
I wonder if it's horror. We'll talk.
It is. It's horror. Anything with zombies, they consider horror.
I hate zombie movies.
I know, but
my honorable mention is Get Out. Adrian, of course, mentioned 35 minutes. Get Out's in that conversation. It's a modern day horror. It's number 6.
I'm gonna have the hashtag Chuck too, but I'm gonna keep going with this one. Mo's not the boss of me, so he can't tell me how many honorable mentions I can do.
He's such a loser. What's your number 5, Adrian? Let's get it going.
All right, number 5. And these are some old school ones here, but The Exorcist, 1973. Right. Linda Blair, Jason Miller, Ellen Burstyn. Like that film was creepy as hell. That any film with little kids in it that little kids are kind of the monsters, they have that little effect to it.
Yeah,
they're pose up at you a bit. And I want to say it kind of started with this film, honestly.
Go more.
Okay. My number 5, I'm gonna say is Gremlins.
Oh, that's a good one. That don't let nobody. No, I know everybody's gonna be talking down to you, Jamal, but that's a good one. Don't let nobody talk down to you for that.
I'm talking down to him, Mo.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick.
I can tell Chuck's biting his tongue, but
that's a good pick. Yeah, my number 5 is gonna be A Quiet Place.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. See that? Chuck, your top 5?
Yeah, number 5, we're gonna go with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974. This one has Leatherface. This is the monsters in horror films before we get to Jason Voorhees, before Michael Myers, before Freddy Krueger. You get Leatherface. Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Now he was only 2 years before Michael Myers, I think, because I think the original Michael Myers came out in 78, I think.
Yeah, I think this is the dawn of that. I think this is when you kind of see, that could be something special. Let's build more storylines around that.
Yeah. All right, Adrian, what's your number 4?
All right, my number 4 actually is 28 Days Later. So, So Cillian Murphy in that role. Obviously, we all loved him in Batman, the Batman trilogy as Scarecrow.
Yeah.
This movie, right, was so Scream, like Jamal mentioned, kind of brought back the horror genre a bit to a newer generation of people, because the 70s was really where like a lot of this horror stuff was really ranking up, and even some of the early 80s stuff, but mainly the 70s. And I felt like after Scream, there was kind of a Scream 2, it came kind of a lull there, and 28 Days Later kind of brought it like that back like fully with the zombie, quote unquote zombie or infected genre there. So I'm going 28 Days Later for my number 4.
Yeah, good movie, man. That's one of my favorites. That's one of the movies that I can sit down and watch over and over and over again. No stop. No, every time I see it on TV, I'm watching it. Jamal, what's your number 4?
I'm going to go with The Shining.
Ooh. Well, Jamal, you trying to build a classic list over here, huh?
You do? Why was this the list?
The Shining. That's another good one. So my number 4 is, I guess me, Adrian, going flop. Oh, well, switch flop, flip flop, whatever. My number 4 is Get Out. And I really think the reason, like, if you think about it, this movie really made an impact, because it's like one of those first movies where, like, really like African American centered kind of horror movie, and I think it just changed the game. I like it. Jordan Peele did a great job on that.
Excellent job.
Yeah,
excellent job. I think my number 4, I'm going to go with It 2017 version.
Good pick.
So we're talking about It for this version. This is the highest grossing horror film of all time. Incredible piece.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, am I up next?
Yeah, number 3.
So number 3. So funny enough, who's it? I think Mo just mentioned the Black lead. So my number 3 is the original Night of the Living Dead, 1968.
That's one of the first black leads.
One of the first black leads in the horror film.
Yeah.
And I think he made the first black lead in the horror film. That's on Dwayne Jones was the actor's name.
Yeah.
And this, I remember this movie. I saw it on VHS. That's how long ago I saw it. But I remember this movie saying, like, it's a black and white movie. Why is it scaring me? so I had to give this movie some love, because it's one of those films where it's like it doesn't get talked about enough.
No, it don't. It really don't.
Culturally groundbreaking, and it was just a really good piece of work there. So it was also directed by George Romero. So
agreed.
He's a legend in the industry for these horror films. So
yeah, I agree. That's a classic right there. Jamal, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is going to be Misery.
Oh.
I thought about Misery too. Jamal,
gotta put it Misery, man. You gotta put it Misery.
Yeah.
It's a classic.
And you know what it is? And I think that probably hit Chuck's a little different since he's an author.
Yes, he did. I don't want you to like the book that much, baby. I promise.
What about you, Long?
My number 3 is It 2017 version. Wow. Now here's the deal, though. When I seen the original It, remember the original It came on TV, 2-part series. That scared the ever living life out of me. I mean, I was terrified for nights, and it was that kind of movie that did that to me. But I think they encompassed that when they did the 2017 It.
But I'm sorry, Mo. I was talking to somebody about It earlier on today, right? And I explained to him, like, that original made for TV, like, it was a 2-night event type of thing on NBC. And I remember watching it, and I remember being so scared watching that movie.
So scared. I was so scared.
For a week and a half, right? I was afraid to go in the shower. I would go in the shower curtain, I would poke at it, I would step back, I throw it open, jump back, just to make sure there wasn't a clown in my shower. So the original It was legit, but the version, I agree that the chapter 1 version was really
it really just like put it all together, and I was like, "Yo, this is so good." Yeah. All right, Chuck. What's your number 3?
I think I'm gonna go with number 3 is gonna be The Exorcist from 73, 74. So I don't normally do well with demonic possession films. They're not really my bag. This is the only exception. Special shout to the fact that this was the first ever horror to be nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. You don't see the accolades. You know what I mean? You don't see these kind of award shows. But this one was just that good that it belonged in that conversation. 9 total nominations. The Exorcist is in my top 5.
Yeah.
It won 2 Oscars. I don't remember what it was for. Can't recall what it was for, but it did win 2 Oscars for that film. So yeah, I agree with you, Chuck. That's why it was number 5 on my list. So,
all right, Adrian, what's your number 2?
Number 2, all right, 1982, The Thing. Little known, right? I want to say little known. It's a big film. I want to say it's a big film. Kurt Russell, John Carpenter. I remember watching this one. I actually went to a Blockbuster Video, right, and rented this video. I never heard of the movie. I didn't know what it was about. Threw it in. I watched it. I was like, yo, this is a really good movie. Like, I think I found this gem of a movie, right? Not realize it was a super popular movie.
Yeah.
The Thing. If you haven't seen it, folks, definitely go check it out. To all you Mr. Cinemaniacs out there, remember hashtag Mr. Cinemaniacs. Drop a like for us and if you get a chance to watch The Thing, let us know what you think about it. All right, that's me. That's my number 2.
All right. For my number 2, so I'm gonna go with one that will probably be on nobody's list, but I admired it because it had a very, very big cult following. And for its time, it was, I guess you can say, creative. The Blair Witch Project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good call there. Good call there.
I'm not just going to that wall. I mean, because
the other reason why I'm saying is because I actually went to see it, I think, on Halloween.
Yeah.
So it got me in the theaters. So
it's always on the list. When I really used to look up the rankings, that's always on the list. But I don't know. I hate those movies.
It was innovative. I hadn't seen a movie before that did a movie like that on video.
Yeah.
I was just gonna go there. Like that whole single camera, first person perspective. That wasn't being done. That wasn't really being done then.
They made it to the big screen, So that was pretty impressive,
And I remember, some people, like I said, some people got dizzy with it because of all the shaking and running around.
Yeah.
But I remember when Blair Witch 2 came out, how disappointed a lot of people were that it was more of a Hollywood feel to it versus that found film footage is that the genre there.
Yeah, because also Cloverfield tried to jump on that.
Exactly. That the next big one I felt that did that, but a lot of people tried to do it. They just couldn't do it. They couldn't do it right. Yeah. But I think Blair Witch hit off on it and Cloverfield hit off on it. So I'm with you on that.
I can't think of which one it was, but I just watched a movie where they did both. They used a cinematic view, but they also used the camera view, like the CCTVs and like phone views and all that. I can't think of one movie. I just recently watched one. So they was using both. So they're still trying to play with it and do it. So my number 2.
Where you going, Mom?
My number 2 is Saw.
Hello. Do you want to play a game?
Okay.
Yes, man. Saw. Like when Saw first came out.
Wait. Which Saw?
Well, I'm going to go with the original Saw. I'm going to go with the original one. But when that first came out, people was like, what in the world is this? What is this? And so, yeah.
Waking up to being chained to the wall?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So as it went on, the steam kind of died down, but that original classic.
Yeah.
Shoot, I might go see that on this Halloween.
Hey, me and my crew, when I was in school, me and my crew, we used to every Halloween we would go through each one, but that's when they was being released back to back. So we'll watch part 1, 2, 3, 4. Go watch part 5 right the next day in the movie theater.
That was up.
What about you, Chuck?
I think I'm gonna go for number 2. I'm gonna go with The Shining, 1980, Jack Nicholson. I think Nicholson's best work. It's a standout. Again, Stephen King, you gotta love it. Number 2.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah. Number 1 time. Number one.
Can I just say real quick before we leave that? Yeah. I hate twin girls standing in the hallway. Come on, man.
Well, that is my number 1 film. Is Shining. Yeah, it's one of those films where it's like even before you actually saw the film, because the film came out, when I was less than a year old, whatever it was. And even before you saw it, you knew about The Shining. You had heard the quotables from it. You had seen like remakes of it. You had seen spoofs of it. But again, a horror film that well acted, Jack Nicholson doing his thing, and it's delivering that type of performance. I mean, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. So I'm going to The Shining is my number 1.
All right. Now, here's the thing. I'm not usually a horror movie type guy. I'm not big on it. But if I do watch it, I gotta go hard.
Okay.
So what I'll say now is probably the most intense, most gripping movie I would say ever made. And you guys probably have never even heard of it before. I recommend that you actually I don't recommend that you watch it because it may scar you. But yeah. All right. So my number 1 pick is a movie called Martyrs. Martyrs.
Okay.
It is. Yeah. It's if you gotta watch a scary movie, yeah, that would be it.
Well, we're not gonna leave us like that. What's it about?
So
it doesn't sound like a regular teenage thrasher film. It doesn't sound like
this is definitely not a teenage thrasher film. It's not. Yeah.
A young woman's quest for revenge against the people who kidnapped her and tormented her as a child leads her and her friend, who is also a victim of child abuse. Is that the one you're talking about?
It's yeah.
On a terrifying journey into living hell of depravity.
Yeah. I don't recommend you watching it. It's pretty intense, but if you're gonna see a scary movie, that's the one you watch.
Where you going, Mon, for your number 1?
Yo, my number 1, and let me explain this real quick. Our cousin took me to see this. Well, it took a few of us to see this when I was 11 years old. This movie has scarred me for life. So much so that I have not watched it again since, or the remake. My number 1 is Candyman. 1992.
Yeah.
I thought you was gonna say The Night Before Christmas.
Now, if this was a Halloween ranking, The Night Before Christmas would be on there. But it's not a Halloween ranking. It's a horror ranking.
Horror films it is.
So Candyman is that movie that has scarred me for life. I can't even go watch the remake because that movie scarred me so much.
Yeah.
interesting. We're talking about horror. The horror genre is, I think, the only genre of movies where we know who the bad guy is, where they are, what they've done, and what they might do to you, right? We know all of that.
Yep.
And horror films push us to a point of watching what's happening, and yet you walk right into it, right? So we spend the whole movie on the edge of our seat. Don't go down that street. Why are you going in that room? Oh, you dummy. Like we spend the whole time doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I love this genre. My number one only hit on a key point. If it doesn't scar you for life, it doesn't belong in your top 5, right?
Yeah.
Salute to an incredible storyteller, Alfred Hitchcock. The Birds is the absolute worst horror film I've ever seen in my life, to the point where I still cross the street when I see multiple birds. I hate birds. and it's funny too. Adrian made a point earlier about a film being black and white, and he was wondering why he was scared. In this film, it made it more scary. I hate Alfred Hitchcock. I hate this movie. And yet it's still the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about the Birds is my daughter, you guys all know her. She's 8 years old, and she was younger, she had fear of birds. So I would regularly pull up scenes from the Birds and play it for her just to mess with her.
Dark human.
Insert child protection services here.
You're an evil person.
Now she has fear of birds.
Can I give a shout out to one movie that we haven't said?
What?
The Ring.
I have
Yeah, it was I was debating putting it on the list because it was one of those films like that early 2000s period. Like there was a renaissance of horror films that I felt came out around that time. That a lot of them were misses because they were coming out like every week. A lot of them were misses, but the ones that hit, like The Ring, those are the ones that kind of stood the test of time a little bit. I'll give you props for that one. That's definitely a good one.
Yeah.
We give ourselves props for going through our top horror films of all time. You should jump in the comments. Let us know what horror films we missed in our review here today. Hey man, happy Halloween, happy horror season from your guys here with the Unspoken.
Peace out.